Fibramine, proud sponsors of the really useful health show, The Joints Series. Use it or lose it.
Madonna's turned 50 and she thinks nothing of doing the splits as part of her routine on stage. And those who didn't know that she'd turned half a century wouldn't believe it. Most of us don't actually feel that energetic. But actually, if you don't use it, you will eventually lose it. And it's really important to keep flexible. Otherwise, you're likely to feel old before your time. And the aches and pains that develop aren't just aches and pains at the end of the day. They then progress and become arthritis. Now, many of you will have heard of arthritis and you'll know people that have had arthritis. It's the single biggest disability, and it affects millions of us. In the US alone, they reckon that between 30 to 60 million people suffer with arthritis, particularly rheumatoid arthritis, which is an inflammatory process, and that affects 400,000 people in the UK alone. Now, it's often thought to be an old people's illness, but in fact, rheumatoid arthritis affects people in their 20s, right the way through to their 40s. The other really common type of arthritis is osteoarthritis, and that affects about 8 million people in the UK alone. And they're quite different conditions. Osteoarthritis is more about wear and tear and follows repeated injuries or surgeries. And the cushion that's usually between the bones, between the joints, disappears so that the bones start grinding together. And that can cause swelling and stiffness and deformity, and obviously lots of discomfort and disability. There are many myths that surround the subject of arthritis, so I thought it would be a good idea just to spend a little time, because we do tend to think of it as an old people's condition. And as I said, rheumatoid arthritis affects much younger people. Half of the victims who have arthritis are under 65. And a study done in the US showed that a third of the people older than 70 had actually no X-ray evidence of arthritis. And of the 70% who did show deterioration, there were no symptoms in half of those. They just didn't develop symptoms. So it isn't a foregone conclusion that you're going to get symptoms, and there's lots that you can do to prevent it. Some say that damp, cold weather brings on the symptoms. But the research hasn't been conclusive on this. But don't cancel your winter sunshine, because going on holiday seems to make you more active, and being active has been shown to help to improve the symptoms of arthritis. Some say that exercise makes it worse, but actually exercise has been shown to improve the function and mobility and the strength, and also help us to lose weight. And obviously, if we're overweight, the extra weight placed on our joints makes the arthritis even worse. I'm not suggesting that you go and run a marathon, but lower impact exercise like yoga or Tai Chi or even some gentle dancing are all very beneficial. There's been some chat about the nightshade family, things like tomatoes, aubergines, potatoes and peppers, whether these make arthritis worse. And the research again isn't conclusive, but we do know that diet does affect symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis, and it can actually make them worse. Having a diet that's rich in good fats that comes from fish and nuts and olive oil and plenty of fruits and vegetables and grains will help to ease osteoarthritis. Another myth is about knuckle cracking, and we all joke about that because it's pretty annoying when children do it. But telling the children that they'll develop arthritis is actually a myth, and that hasn't been borne out by research. They may get some wear and tear and after a while not be able to grip things so well, but it's not necessarily going to lead to arthritis. A study that's been going on in Eastbourne in Sussex for the last few years, undertaken by the Arthritic Association, on lifestyle habits of people suffering with arthritis, has actually found that 7 out of 10 of them reduced their symptoms when they took up exercising and changed their diets and took some nutritional supplements. During this series on joint health, we're going to be looking at what underlies the aches and pains and how we can increase our flexibility so that we feel mobile again and turn back the clock effectively several decades.
Lubramine, proud sponsors of the really useful health show, The Joint Series. Use it or lose it.